The UltraMind Solution by Dr. Mark Hyman. This book is meant to be a proposed solution to what's called broken brain syndrome. Now, we refer to our broken brains, is what the author likes to call it. We refer to them by many names: depression, anxiety, memory loss, brain fog, ADD, autism, dementia. But the thing is, these are all symptoms of the same problem, which is a lack of the 7 keys to ultra wellness, like the author proposes. And it seems like the way we treat anything in the DSM-5, which is basically the book, I would literally actually see myself committing suicide before even considering reviewing the DSM-5, which told my psychiatrist,
okay, this kid has ADHD, autism, and a little bit of a not otherwise specified mood disorder, aka he is mentally ill. He is mentally ill. He has mental illness, and for the rest of his ill life, he has ill diseases that make him diseased, and they will make him sick for his whole life. Now, in case it's not obvious how biased I am against this is the actual way lots of people who were diagnosed using this book actually feel about themselves. And I've lived through a phase of that. It's a waste of time and energy, and no one in the world, and at least in my opinion, deserves to be thinking their way into self-harm, self-hatred, suicidal thoughts, or anything like that just to be put on some sort of synthesized solution that's not actually longevity-oriented. And that's why this is such a big deal for this book. The UltraMind Solution. I mean, the book was a great idea. The problem is the whole DSM system is just becoming super outdated. And he basically proposes in this book that the way you treat your body is ultimately what will be the cause of good mental health. A little tip, by the way, for anyone who feels like shit all the time: throw out literally everything in your home and never buy anything ever again that includes the 2 ingredients: high fructose corn syrup and trans fats. You can literally transform your brain overnight by smashing that like button, in case you haven't already, for the YouTube algorithm and the rankings CEO, and it helps in a bunch of stuff. And I really appreciate it because so much work goes into these videos, like a lot. And this is not the first video of this watching session, if you want to call it. Chances are you know how much I grind out these videos and how much I'm like killing myself just to make them real and on YouTube. But that's because you can literally transform your brain overnight by not eating anything with these ingredients and just getting rid of them. And if you eat them every day like I probably do, I can promise you that both of them are probably a good cause of a lot of the worst things in our lives. Those and sugar, alcohol, caffeine, and nicotine. A big problem with this book, that I have at least, is the ratio of focus that the author puts on the consequences of not following his advice versus the benefits of following it. Persuasion is a key thing here, and you can tell just by his words he's enthusiastic about what he does. But you could also probably guess that if this were exposed to a lot of people, more of them would say no than yes. Like, way more than it could be. And that's what I guess. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. And anyone could be like,
Sam, stop being such a dickhead. That's not what his intention was, but
I don't know, man. This book has to have been called the UltraMind Solution for a reason, right? This dude is incredibly smart. Don't get me wrong, but there's the art and the science. And I hate to say that one of them is really not close to as good as the other. And I myself, perhaps, and maybe even guilty of the same thing to a good degree. But I'm working on it by listening to all these books and making all these videos and getting a new job, which also was, again, a work in progress. But I couldn't leave these fucking videos alone for a week. I really had to make more. I really had to keep delivering for you guys because I know that you appreciate it. And I'm getting a lot out of it as well. He does talk a lot about brain chemicals and how those affect your body. Again, it's not like this book sucks. It doesn't suck or anything. But apparently, most nutritional research can be summed up with 3 principles. Just 8 words. And by 8, I mean 8. Not 9, not 10, not 7, and not 10, but 8 words.
eat food. Not too much. Mostly plants.
He talks about vitamins as well, and he throws us a lot of alarming statistics. I feel like all these health books are just like,
Statistics. Ain't the fucking statistics. They taste good and they're good for you. Fucking nutrition.
I really do think this is why I don't have that many friends. Like how the government's recommendations for vitamin D there are actually 1/25th of what we really need every day, and how
70% of Americans are sleep deprived.
So I do think this is a very informative book, but it doesn't tell you nearly as much about what to do as it does what not to do. And again, it's called the UltraMind Solution. And he also keeps mentioning this workbook throughout the whole thing. And I think that if you truly want this book, it means that you seriously are, like, worried about all the shit going on in your body. And it's a good idea to put a little bit more focus into taking better care of it. That's kind of what I got from this book, other than a lot of info about what's going on all around us and inside us and, like, how it's all kind of connected, which again is very interesting stuff. It's pretty useful, but for the 5 billionth time, knowing what to do is just as important, in my opinion, at least, instead. So to call this book a sales pitch, which is like... I hate when people do that in reviews. Like, shut up. Like, just focus on what you can get out of it, not what people do or don't want you to get more of. I think my main point of this review is that this is a book that you don't just want to get, if anything. You don't want this book. This book is not the solution. Spoiler alert, the UltraMind Solution is more than a book. It's a guide and a program and a whole thing. You will need to say no to many other things in order to pursue. This is just based on the amount of, like, I don't know, like, I was exhausted just thinking about all the extra shit. Maybe my why to lose weight or fix my broken brain syndrome, you could say, isn't big enough. Maybe I'm just being a dickhead again. I don't know. Like, am I saying the UltraMind Solution is not gonna make you feel amazing? No. Am I saying it's a terrible book? No. I think it's quite informative, but it doesn't serve its own purpose as a standalone solution. And I think that's a big problem. Any given book would have if it's being sold, especially in audio format. A great chapter, like, you know, if this book were just a straight up book, is the chapter about how exercise is literally basically the best antidepressant. You don't need antidepressants, you just need to exercise. And I also really enjoy the shit that he says toward the end about, like, you know, exceptions to the rule, or just things to consider, like seriously deep childhood traumas, and how those may be what this can't really entirely fix, and how if that's the case, then maybe you should see a specialist in this or that, or when it's okay perhaps to be prescribed psychotropics. And there are exceptions. This guy is very smart. Even after having listened to the other 2 books that I reviewed, The Obesity Code by Dr. Jason Fung and Salt, Sugar, Fat by Michael Moss, I do believe that he knows what he's talking about. And if this isn't my best review, maybe it's because the book sounds like a little bit of a step-by-step guide, or maybe, you know, like the end of it. Am I walking into the trap of reviewing it? Well, if that's the case, then that's where I went wrong. I didn't dislike it. Even if I did, I say this a lot, I get good ideas from bad books. Quotes. Is depression a Prozac deficiency? Is ADHD a Ritalin deficiency? Is Alzheimer's an Aricept deficiency? I don't think so. If all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. Direction 1. If you're thinking of getting this book, I think that really depends on what you're looking to get out of it. If you want to know what not to do, I recommend it. Or if you want to know what to do, but if you want to know what to do, I don't recommend the book. I recommend the book and completing the assessments online, and it seems like this is a little bit of an, like, sort of an ecosystem this man seems to have prepared for us. Pardon my ignorance, it may be a team. If you're a casual audiobook listener like myself, you may get, you know, a handful of ideas. The solution, as far as I know, is mainly at the end of the book. You know, there are some ideas on sleep and vitamins and exercise and different foods to pay more attention to, but that's really all I got out of it. Again, I don't consider myself a health nut, but health is something I will be getting into the more I cover on everything else eventually. Health may find me. Direction 2, if you like this book, I don't really know who would like this book all that much, except people who are fanatics about this type of stuff, which, you know, it's good for them. I think you would get a lot out of. There's a book I listened to like a year or 2 ago called Brain Maker by Dr. David Perlmutter. It's about the microbiome and how your gut is like your second brain, and taking care of your gut is like all you really need in order to treat debilitating brain disorders like autism and dementia and ADHD and schizophrenia and I think bipolar and fucking like a bunch of other ones. The UltraMind Solution by Dr. Mark Hyman. There's a link in the description if you guys want to check it out and read the reviews. That and all the other books that I mentioned in this video if you're interested in those too. If you guys want me to check out and review any other books, please let me know in the comments below. Also let me know if you checked out this book and you liked it. Make sure to leave a like if you like this review. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. I don't know why someone would watch this far into the video and not subscribe. If you want to take it up just a notch and join the then turn on that notification bell, and I really appreciate that, so you can get a notification every time I drop a new video. That would mean the world to me. Thank you guys so much for watching. You can find me everywhere, and I'll see you then.